Hi folks, this is Kim from Fit to Drive, and we're just going to be doing a little bit of talk about lane changing. Lane changing, or decision making as it's known in the test, is one thing that makes a lot of beginning drivers quite nervous, because you've got to physically turn your head left or right. Remember how we've spoken about blind spot checks in the past and how to do them correctly. If you simply turn your chin around, or you turn your face around and you look in your side mirrors, you will get a head check error, and 3 of those will unfortunately result in you failing your test. I'm sorry. So I've got the phone here pointing to the street, so I'm actually going to turn it around so you can see the mirror, my left hand mirror, and my left hand window. So I'm looking directly out of my left hand window. My chin is around to my shoulder. That is how to correctly do a left hand blind spot check. And bringing it back around, I'm going to show it, or hold it outside of my my right side mirror, and that is how to correctly do a right hand blind spot check. So it's checking the center mirror, the head goes around the side mirror, and then the actual side window. So that's all done in pretty much a heartbeat. Now, how you can change lanes is, when we change lanes, we need to indicate, giving a few seconds notice to the car behind us about what our intentions are, and then after that we do our blind spot checks and move across. Where people get nervous is they see the car behind them, they think that the car might be closing the gap on them, in other words, not allowing them the space to get in. Folks, when you practice your lane changes, you can do so perhaps in quieter areas or quieter times. If I'm doing a lesson with one of my students and we're on a multi-lane road, I like to make sure that there's no traffic behind me, and I'll get that person to do left, right, left, right, left, right. So it just gives them a little bit of confidence. So we're going to go out onto the road now, and I'm going to give an example of doing a lane change. Just remember a little tip too. If the traffic is, for instance, you're driving in the left-hand lane and there's a lot of traffic in the right-hand lane, which is where you'd like to be, don't be afraid to put your indicators on as early as you like, okay? And keep checking your center mirror, because sooner or later you'll find that someone will be courteous and let you in. Another little tip, if someone does pull back on their lights, in other words, flashes their lights at you, that's an indication, or can be an indication, that they're letting you in. Now, just something to remember. Okay, when you are changing lanes, once that indicator goes down and you can see in the mirror that the car behind you is not speeding up to close the gap, you need to get across as quickly as possible. Okay, the car behind you has 2 choices. They can either accelerate and smash into the back of you, or they can let you go across. Sometimes with my learners, we get people that are quite rude and they sound their horn and that sort of thing. That's the only thing they can do for you. But when you do indicate, okay, to change lanes, make sure that you do get across, you get across assertively, and you get across as quickly as possible so you don't cause confusion. So I'm about to go onto the road now. It's a little bit busy at the moment, so I'll just wait till we've got a break in traffic. Okay, and away we go. So what I'm going to deliberately do is to put myself in a position where I have to change lanes, and we'll find somewhere to do that in a minute. So I'll just put the video on pause until Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm coming up to St. Martin's Crescent, which is where the Blacktown RMS is located. Now, what I'm doing is I'm actually going past the street. I will wait till I'm past the street before I put my left-hand indicator on. And I've deliberately put myself in a position where I've got to change lanes quite quickly. So there was no markings on the center of the road, but I had to move across from the right to the left quite quickly. Now I'm turning into St. Martin's Crescent, and I'm staying in the outside lane. If I was wanting to turn into the Blacktown RMS, I would turn where the McDonald's sign is. So just to recap that, changing lanes, Practice in quieter times on multi-lane roads where there's no traffic behind you. Get mum or dad to make sure that you're turning your head properly, or if you're with your driving instructor, making sure he's getting you to do your blind spot checks correctly, which is turning your head around and looking directly out your left window if you're doing a left-hand blind spot check, or looking outside of your right window if you're doing a right-hand lane change. If your assessor is sitting next to you, what you need to be aware of is when your head turns around to do a right-hand blind spot check, he or she needs to see the back of your head, not the side of your face. And if you're doing a left-hand lane change, you need to be virtually looking directly at them. And when they are sitting next to you on test day, just be aware that they will be looking at you like a hawk to make sure that you do your lane changes. So we're going to do one final lane change here, and I'll recap on how to change lanes safely. Now, I've brought myself straight into the middle lane here, brought my speed up because we're going uphill. If you are merging onto a road, you need to bring your speed up to the speed limit of the road as quickly as possible. I'm going to indicate right. I've seen in my mirror that there's no one behind me. Do a right-hand blind spot check and move smoothly across, and the head immediately goes back to the front. You always need to be aware of what's in front of your vehicle. This is Kim from Fit to Drive, and I'll just recap lane changing, practice in quieter times. Make sure that you turn your head either fully to the left or fully to the right to do your blind spot checks correctly. Once that indicator goes down and you can see that there's no one behind you that's going to speed up, just make sure that you move across quickly and assertively. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and safe driving.